Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emily and today I'm giving you my try a chapter tag that I was telling you guys about in my November TBR. I ended up picking a challenge and it was a try a chapter tag. I am filming the intro after all of this because I forgot to film an intro. So it is almost 11 o'clock at night on November 7th, which is Tuesday or whatever, and I have finished this whole vlog and everything, but I needed to come in here and do this. So I decided to straighten my hair, put myself together so I could film this intro for you guys so that I didn't have to worry about it tomorrow. So you will see in this vlog that I pick 3 books off my physical TBR shelves because I get extra points this month if I read physical books. So I picked 3 and I read the first chapters of them, and the rest of the vlog will be you getting to see all that. I would show you the books now, but I put them all away and I'm just not going to get them back up because some of them are behind some things. And as you can see, I did sort of decorate for Christmas because I am one of those people that likes to decorate for Christmas early because it makes me happy. I've got my tree like right over here and you can't see it, but it will show up in some videos later on. But I hope you enjoyed this vlog, and I guess I will see you guys again at the end. Okay, so I'm here checking in with my first chapter. Okay, so I have Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I've had this since it came out and I haven't read it. So for the first chapter, we're just reading letters that Scarlet has sent to Legend, who is like the mastermind behind Caraval, and she keeps asking him to come to her town, and every year he never does. And then finally she's writing her last one telling him not to come to her town because she is set to be married. And yeah, so he ends up writing back that last time saying, I can't come to your town, but I think he gives her tickets to come to his show that's not far away. So it's very interesting so far. Like, why now is he just telling her to come, and will she go? And like, why all the letters, and like, why never a reply? I don't know. It just sounds very interesting. It sounds like something that would be really good going into like the Christmas season with like this Caraval, this carnival thing. So I am really interested. I don't know that I'm going to give these like a rating. I will just let you know if one of the other books is higher up than the other, but so far I'm really intrigued by this one, and I have the audiobook out from my library, so it's most likely going to get read anyway, but I'm going to see if either of the other two have a better first chapter than this one. Okay, I'm back with another check-in. I read another chapter, and the book I decided to pick this time was Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. This one we're following Evie, and she's trying to get a job, but she's kind of failing at it. So she leaves the village and decides to go for a walk in the woods, and in there she encounters the notorious villain who she hears all kinds of nasty things about and has seen his picture, and he looks horrible and his pictures and everything. But lo and behold, he's not what she thought he was, and she kind of feels like maybe people have things wrong about him. I mean, don't get me wrong, he is still a villain, but she kind of isn't afraid of him, and she's just, I don't know, she's very quirky as a character. I feel like maybe she could get annoying if like things continued and didn't like grow as a character, but I've heard that this does get really good, I think from like the middle towards the end, and that it can become a little monotonous from the beginning. But I thought that the first chapter was very intriguing, and it's definitely I mean, it's a prologue, so I guess not a chapter, but I'm just reading the first whatever, and this one happened to be a prologue. So essentially, they kind of save each other from something in the woods, and he takes her back to his, what'd she call it? Massacre Castle or something, or Massacre Manor. And he essentially tells her that I'm going to hire you, and she's kind of like doubtful first, but then she realizes she really needs a job, and that was it. Like, she decided and agreed that she would take a job as his assistant, and here we have Assistant to the Villain. And I just thought it was very quirky, and I'm very interested to see their dynamic and how they work out. So this one is definitely intriguing. I had the audiobook out from my library, so that that is a contender. Audiobooks are kind of what I'm in the mood for right now because I am making something for my mom for Christmas. So if I had to pick between these two that I liked and was intrigued by more, I'm going to say, oh, this is hard because they were both equal. I kind of don't want to say right now because I feel like I need to think on it, because on one hand I'm really interested in Caraval, but on the other hand I'm like equally intrigued by Assistant to the Villain. So these two are kind of the same level. So I'm going to read the final chapter, and that is for The Will of the Many by James Islington. And if this one does not beat over one or the other, then I guess I will have to decide between those two. And I don't know if this is going to be a good first chapter or not, but I'm high hopes, although it is chunky. So if this one does win, it's going to take me a while to finish it. So you may not see this at the beginning of the month. If not, then maybe this one. I don't know, but stay tuned. I think this one has like 14 or 15 chapters. 14 or 15 pages for the first chapter, so it might take me a little bit because high adult fantasy does take me a little bit to get into, and I haven't been reading fantasy recently, so getting back into something, especially something like this, may be a little slow going for me. So I'm going to go read the first chapter, and I will check back in to let you guys know how it went. Okay, I finished the first chapter of The Will of the Many by James Islington, and this one we're following Viz, and he is essentially this guard at a prison from what I could gather, and the prisoners are all kind of on these things. What are they called? They're like sappers. They're called sappers. They're on these like metal or like mirrored little like surfaces or slabs or whatever that are called sappers. And essentially it takes the will of these prisoners and sends it up to the higher ups, and there is a list of the hierarchy, and our main character is a Septimus, and a Sextus ends up coming, and he's got the proper documentation, and he's there to see a prisoner. So Viz ends up taking him down, and he notices that when the prisoner's being talked to after he's lifted off this sapper, that they're talking in a language that's like kind of, I want to say like a dead language, and he can't let on that he understands, and there's like more to Viz than we think, because he is up to something. We don't really know what yet, but if you read the synopsis you kind of know. But I just want to read like the first paragraph of this. It says, "I am dangling, and it is only my father's blood-slicked grip around my wrist that stops me from falling. He is on his stomach, stretched out over the rocky ledge. His muscles are corded. Sticky red covers his face, his arms, his clothes, everything I can see. Yet I know he can pull me up. I do everything I can not to struggle. I trust him to save me. He looks over my shoulder, into the inky black, into the darkness that is to come. Courage, he whispers. He pours heartbreak and hope into the word. He lets go." Like, that is just so shocking, and you're now just like, what the heck happened? Why did this happen? And we immediately go into him in this prison working, and he is a orphan, I guess? I don't know. But there's more to him than meets the eye, and there's like a lot to wrap around with the world building and the like magic system, essentially, I guess. I don't know. It's very confusing, but this is one I don't want to like rush through. This is one that I think I want to get the audiobook for and read along as it's going, because I was a little confused at the beginning, but the further in we get, like, you're getting to see a little more, I guess. But I am really intrigued by this one, but I don't think it's the one I'm going to pick because I really want to savor this one and I don't want to rush through it. So this one, while it was intriguing, I think I'm going to set it down. And so I'm left with these two, Caraval and Assistant to the Villain. Now, I keep sitting here. I've been sitting here for a while before I started filming the clip for that one, and I just don't know which one to pick. I really don't know which one I'm more in the mood for. Like, on one hand, this one's really intriguing because the villain, the assistant to the villain, like, that just sounds so interesting. The characters sound really quirky, and I think this could be a really fun read. While on the other hand, this one sounds really atmospheric and fun and secretive and different. And so you guys probably won't be mad, but I have the audiobook for both of these from the library. So I think what I'm going to do is, since these two are kind of like tied on intrigue level from the first chapter, I am going to read both of them in this vlog and count them, because I feel bad because I think this one would have been a really good read, but like I don't know. I feel like I need to start off small before getting into this like epic fantasy. And so I can't with that one right now, unfortunately, even though I'm really intrigued by it. But I am going to pick up both of these and read them in this vlog. So this vlog may take a little bit longer, but I have the audiobooks for both of them from the library, so I will incorporate them both in here. And that's not going to be tonight because it's already getting late. But I am super excited to get to both of these, and I will check in with you guys when I have an update on one of them. Okay, so it is November 5th, and if you haven't noticed, I did get my hair cut today. I couldn't stand it anymore. I got out of the shower, and it was just driving me nuts. There were too many split ends, and so I asked my grandma to cut it because she used to do hair, and she cut it for me, and it's short, and I'm happy with it. I do kind of miss my long hair a little bit, but hair grows back, and I just needed a stress reliever, and that was something causing me stress. So I have relieved that stress, and I'm happy it looks healthier. And yeah, so that's all I got to say about my hair. But I did finally start Caraval, one of the books that I want to read for this vlog portion. This is by Stephanie Garber, and like I said before, we're following Scarlett Dagna, and she writes to Legend, who is like the runner of Caraval, and every year she asks him to come to her town. And from what I can gather from these letters, like, they never go to a town twice, and 50 years ago they were at her town, but she really wants them to come back. And so every year she writes him a letter asking him to come until we get to the last one, and she tells him that she is on the verge of being married and he should probably not come. And then finally he writes back saying, you know, congratulations, here's some invitations for you and your fiance to come visit me and see the show. So she kind of has some inner turmoil about this, but she's kind of resolved herself not to go. But in comes Donatella, her sister, and she kind of stirs up some drama, and their father ends up getting provoked within like the first few chapters, and you kind of see that he is very abusive towards them, and he's very vindictive and manipulative. And Scarlett is just really afraid of him. She's kind of afraid of men a little bit. Like, she doesn't have a lot of trust, and this all stems from her father. So, like, you kind of understand things that way. But I feel like Scarlett, at the beginning so far, has been really meek and mousy, and she doesn't want to get in trouble, and she just wants to do things that aren't going to get her in trouble. And she's supposed to marry this guy that she's never seen. She doesn't know who he is, but her father has, like, put their marriage together, and he doesn't want to tell her when the marriage is. Like, he's just doing all he can to be manipulative, and it's so frustrating. Like, I love it though when you have a villain that you can hate. Like, there's just something so good about that. I'm really enjoying the writing of this. But anyway, back to the sister. So the sister and Scarlett end up getting into a little bit of trouble. So Donatella was making out with this sailor, I guess, and she wants to make a deal with him for him to take her and her sister to Caraval so that her sister can finally see Caraval. And Scarlett tells her sister that, no, we cannot do this, like, we're so close to being free. And her sister's like, you don't even know the guy you're marrying, and, you know, their father is ridiculous, and, like, he's just a terrible person. And you know, she's trying to set up this whole thing so that Scarlett can go see Caraval. So stuff ensues, and let's just say she ends up going to the island, and she gets separated from her sister. So the whole time at the beginning, she is with the pirate who is taking them there. I don't know if I said pirate or pilot earlier, but it's pirate. What's his name? I can't even remember. Julian. So Scarlett and Julian, the pirate, or sailor, whatever you want to call him, they are kind of stuck together getting onto the island and getting in, and there's a section where you can either go and watch the games that kind of take place in Caraval, or you can participate. And Scarlet knows that her sister would probably want to participate, and so does Scarlet. So they make the executive decision to go to participate. And I've only just got to the part where the first night is about to begin. Yeah, night 1 of Caraval. So I'm only about like 30% of the way into the book, and I'm really enjoying it. The writing is very easy to get through. I am listening to the audiobook, and I'm really enjoying the audiobook. So far I think I'm just getting a little annoyed with Scarlet as a character, because she is timid and meek, and she kind of just wants to follow her father's rules so that she can have her freedom. And and it's really hard for her to make decisions for herself. And so when she is being presented the ability to make decisions on her own, she's having a hard time doing it. So I'm interested to see her character arc and see like how she'll be by the end of the book. But so far I'm really interested in Caraval. Like, there's so many things going on. It's like you can't trust anyone, you can't trust anything, you can't trust what you hear, see, anything. And I still have no idea like what these games are about. I'm just really interested to keep going. So I stopped. I did listen to all this while I was cleaning my room, because I was trying to get it ready for putting my little Christmas tree in here and decorating things. Like, everything's falling off my bookshelves because they know, the leaves and stuff, they know it's time to decorate for Christmas, and I'm just excited for Christmas. But anyway, I am going to help dye my mom's hair, and then I'm going to get back into Caraval because I'm really enjoying it. And I have a goal of these 7 audiobooks that I have out from the library. I would like to read one of them each day this week to kind of stay on track with my goal and what I want to read and my TBR and everything. So this is book number 1 that I need to finish tonight, and I'm really enjoying it. So, and it's been flying by, so that's good. And so far I'm really enjoying it. So that is that, and I will check in with you guys maybe when I hit like 50 or 60% of the way in. Okay, so it's a little while later. I think it's going on 6:30 or almost 7, but I wanted to say that I did finish Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I don't really know how to talk about the rest of the book without like spoiling it, so I'm not gonna spoil it, but I will just say that I did enjoy Scarlet's character arc overall. I think she did kind of grow a backbone and push past the undecidedness that she struggled with throughout the book, especially in the beginning. I really enjoyed the twists and turns. I enjoyed how you really couldn't trust anyone or anything about Caraval, and how the game was so much more than what it was. And I don't know what else to say other than that. I will say that Donatella is a little annoying. Something she does in the book was just kind of like, why? I'm assuming we'll figure that out in the next book maybe, because I think we're getting her perspective in Legendary. But I don't know, I just felt like Donatella as a character is just like, you just want to smack her a little bit. And then Scarlet was a little too meek for my taste. I understood why the characters were the way they were, but it just wasn't my favorite. And there was just like certain decisions and things that were made in this book that were very questionable and just frustrated me a lot. But there are so many questions left unanswered that I never got answered in this book, and I think I will in the next one. So I will be continuing on the series. I am waiting. I have holds on the 2nd and 3rd book of this series from the library. So as soon as those come in, I will jump right into those. But as for rating, I gave this a 3 stars. Not good, not bad. Just in the middle. I enjoyed it, but I still had a lot of issues with it. So I'm happy that I finally got to this, because I think I got this when it actually came out, which was in 2017. So I've had this book for quite a while, and I kind of feel like if I would have read it like when I got it, I would have enjoyed it a lot more like a lot of other people did. But I feel like this is YA fantasy, so it's definitely not what I'm used to reading anymore, but I did really enjoy it, and I'm hoping that the second book will give me answers to all my questions. And I kind of just really want to see where this is going to take the characters, although I'm kind of hesitant to read in Donatella's perspective. I don't know. And I really want to know who Legend is. Like, I just want to know more about his character. So, yeah. Anyway, that was this book. I am happy that I finally got to it. I definitely think, based on the first chapter that I read, that it met my expectations going in. They got a little lower as the book went on, but I still really enjoyed it overall. Now, I think I said earlier, I can't remember, but I'm going to be reading an audiobook or listening to an audiobook every day for the week of the 5th through the 11th because I have so many books out from the library and I've been neglecting them. So I'm going to purge through all of those by listening to them. And the next book I'm going to be listening to is going to be The Vanishing Stair, which is going to be on the 6th. I'm going to listen to this one. It'll take me a whole day to just finish this one. Not even. But then on Tuesday, the plan is to read this one, Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer, and I'm really excited to get to this one. This was the second book that I'm reading for this video, and I'm just super excited to get to it. Like, I also just wanted to mention, like, help, I don't know if I mentioned, but there is a frog with a crown that is, like, sentient, brought into the story in the first chapter, and I was very intrigued. So I am just looking forward to getting to this book. But first, I have to get to this one because this one is going to go away faster than this one on my library hold, so I'm not worried about it. I read Truly Devious last month, and so I'm just trying to get through the series so I can finish it. But then I will be moving on to Assistant to the Villain, so you will not see me for this vlog until Tuesday when I am reading this book. And then I'm hoping, if you're seeing this, this has gone out on the 8th, so it'll be Wednesday. So I'm sorry that it took me a little bit to get through these, but I am very excited to have gotten to both of these books this month, and sooner rather than later. This one I've had for a while, and this one that was just more recently purchased, so an oldie and a newie, so perfect. Okay, so it is November 6th, it is Monday, and like I told you yesterday, I was planning on reading this today. I did, I read it, I started and finished it, but I finished it way earlier, and I knew it was going to be a quick read, so I was kind of feeling like I still wanted to read today, so I did start Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I am about 26% of the way through. I am on page 87, and I wanted to come in here because I am going to bed soon, but I stopped for the night where I was at, and I wanted to let you guys know my thoughts on the first like 11 chapters. So I reread the prologue again, where Evie, our main character, has met the villain in the woods, and he ends up hiring her after she kind of helps him, and he's helping her now. So jump forward, what was it like? So we jump forward 5 months later, and Evie has kind of found a rhythm in her job working for the villain. She is his assistant, and obviously assistant to the villain, and she kind of just helps him like plan things or like figure things out. But recently he's been having some of his shipments be intercepted, and after the third one, he finally realizes that there's a traitor amongst them. So Evie is kind of tasked with trying to help him figure out who it is. And we also do get the point of view from the villain, and he is definitely very infatuated with Evie, so it's very interesting. I mean, you can kind of get the feel of that from her chapters because she is also very infatuated with him, and they kind of have this like little bit of a back and forth relationship kind of going on. Like, I think she's thinking of it as like employee, employer, and he's thinking like he's a villain, he can't have her, but there's still something there that he really enjoys about her, and she's just very attracted to him, and she enjoys making him laugh and kind of like getting him to not be as violent sometimes. We also, in the prologue, were introduced to this little frog up here. His name is Kingsley because, you know, he's a frog with a crown. And I enjoy the little bits of him that we get in here, especially the scene that kind of has the help sign. Like, I just got to that one in this past chapter and it was hilarious. So I'm really interested to learn more about Kingsley too. So as Evie's trying to figure out who could potentially be the traitor in their midst, she ends up discovering a bomb in the villain's desk. And so as she's trying to take it to throw it out, she trips. And now Evie is very accident prone. And I think that that's such a fun flaw to put in a character in a book, because while that's like something a lot of people probably suffer with, it's fun to see that in the book and how it kind of just adds on to the story and the plot and how Evie's character is. I will say that Evie's inner monologue can get like a little annoying at times. It's like she just never knows when to shut up, honestly, because she keeps going over like the same things. And so that's really the only problem I have with it. Other than that, this has been a really fun and interesting read. I've laughed out loud a little bit, especially with the parts with Kingsley and like some of the dialogue and the back and forth between Evie and the villain. And there's like a lot of like different things like sprinkled in, like for instance, the sickness that her father encountered, but he's been doing better recently, and what happened to her mom and her brother, and just like things like that, and like especially like how the villain became the villain. Like that just sounds so interesting, and like we're kind of just getting little snips here and there of things. But so the next thing that they're going to be getting up to, which I'll read and figure out tomorrow, is who built the bomb and why, and who planted the bomb. And I'm just so intrigued. Like, this is just such a fun read, and I love that it's really floppy, and I'm just having a good time. I'm glad I started this tonight. It'll definitely make it quicker than for tomorrow, and I am hoping that if not tomorrow, then the day after I will get this vlog up. But I am super excited to finally be on this one, and I'm so glad that I picked up the physical copy of this, because like I just love it, like the sprayed edges and like the quirky cover, especially this darn frog, like help. It's just so funny. Anyway, so I'm really enjoying this book. I don't know about a rating so far, but I am just really enjoying it. I'm having a good time, and that's all I can ever ask for from a book. So I can't wait to continue on with this tomorrow. Okay, so it is Tuesday, November 7th, and I'm happy to say that I finished Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I decided I'm going to give this a 5 stars for enjoyment, but if I had to like be really critical about it, I'd give it a 4 stars. Now, I can't remember what I last said. I think they were getting ready to go figure out something about a bomb that was planted in the villain's castle or whatever. Massacre Manor is what they call it. And they do all that stuff. They kind of like are following a trail of things, and obviously it's going to not lead them to what they thought they knew. And there are so many twists and turns at the end. I will say that the middle didn't drag on, but it just felt like the same things were happening over and over again. And I think while normally that would make me put something down more, I enjoyed the found family aspect, and I enjoyed like the relationships being built, and I enjoyed like learning tidbits more. The main character, she did kind of shut up a little bit in her mind, and we learned more about the villain and his backstory a little bit, and just a lot more things, and that's what really made it interesting. And I just loved all the characters. All the characters were great, and the twists at the end were great, and I just loved the atmosphere, and I just enjoyed the story overall. Like, there wasn't too much of a plot happening, which I'm hoping based on the end that we're gonna get more going forward, but this is like a low plot fantasy-ish book. So I mean, go into that knowing that I wouldn't have super high expectations for like an exciting fantasy. And as for like romance, there's really not any per se. It's more of a back and forth flirting kind of thing. But I'm hoping to see more later. And I don't know, I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I liked the characters. We do get perspectives from the villain, so that was also nice to see his thoughts and like the way he thinks. And overall, I enjoyed the character arc for Evie. I thought that it was well done, and she kind of came into her own, and she found out who she was. She found a family for herself, this little found family, and I just really liked it. And I'm just hoping that in the next book we're gonna get even more, and there will be more plot, more things to push it forward a little faster than it was doing this in this book. But yeah, so I really enjoyed it. 5 stars, although I could say technically like 4.5, but a 5 stars for enjoyment for me. While I can understand a lot of people might not get along with this one too well, 4 stars if you want like a critical rating. But anyway, I have now finished both these books that I said I was going to read for this vlog. You know, normally in a Triad chapter it's only going to be 1, but I enjoyed the first chapter of these 2 enough that I really wanted to just read both of them. Not to mention I had the audiobook out from my library for each of them, so that helped. But I got 2 physical books, so I will get 2 extra points from my TBR game this month. And I got 2 physical books off my TBR shelf, and you'll know if you've been watching for a while this year that I have not been reading a lot of physical books, so this is great. An older one, newer one, I'm happy. I think this video went very well, and I like doing these kinds of things. Ones that I don't have to like span out over a long period of time sometimes, so these ones maybe will pop up more often. But I hope you enjoyed this. I wanted to give a very huge thanks to everyone who's been subscribing recently. I appreciate you all. It makes me feel so happy that more people are finding my channel and subscribing and just talking about books in general, and I'm just so eternally grateful for you all, so thank you. And I hope you all liked this video, so like it down below if you did, comment letting me know if you've read either of these 2 books and whether you liked it or not, and subscribe if you want to. I'd greatly appreciate it. And until my next video, I will see you guys again soon. Bye.